with the full three-man crew for the Big Friday pod, coming off a profitable Thursday night football. As always, today's podcast is presented by Props.Cash. We 100% could not do what we do without Props.Cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM at signup to get 25% off your first month. Also, quick shout out to the PTM Discord, where you can get all our VIP picks, which we're cashing like crazy. Live bets last night. Discord was on fire. Join us now using the same PTM discount code. You get 25% off. What's going on, boys?
It's good, man. Yesterday was good. We had a lot of fun with Thursday Night Football. Finally, a super profitable one. Tim, tell everybody how we were making some money last night.
Well, first of all, it's good to have Dave back. We were just the two of us for a while. We could not operate any of the tech, so it's good. It'll be much better today. The Props.Cash screens will be perfect. Last night, as a Giants fan, if you watch the show, we went into it very honest, but we took the risk-free, which we've hit, I think, of 2 for 4 in primetime. Me and Reed the Green, other guy in there, we're like, let's do a first quarter. And I am so hooked on first quarter no sweats, because if you end the first quarter 9 units up for the rest of the game, if Brandon Cooks gets targeted 4 times and only has 2 receptions and ruins your perfect night, it doesn't hurt as bad as if you have to wait the whole game. So we had the Discord chat. Everybody was profitable at the end of the first quarter. We were wanting the first quarter to end because we hit that bet so fast. No reverse, no negative plays, just end the quarter. If first half Thursday Night Football can be as good as that was for us the year, I'm fine with the second half of that game and some stinkers, because that was just, we talked about on the show, it's going to be receptions. Everybody was projected high. Everything was a pass. Nobody really ran the ball, and I absolutely loved it.
And as a Giants fan, were you okay with the result?
No, of course not. We bet on Brandon Aubrey over 1.5 field goals, which he did. We didn't have Greg Joseph making 17 field goals, which he also did. So it was a wild game for the Giants with no offense in the end zone, just Greg Joseph being our MVP. Daniel Jones' legs were not great. He did have some offensive line help. He had some of the most time he's ever had. And when he did, he made some good decisions.
Yeah,
obviously,
he looked
you want
good.
to win. You want to beat them. We didn't get blown out. The 5.5 was the line. So, no, I'm not happy, but I'm just waiting for Arch Manning. So that's, we're just headed towards, if we keep losing close games that are, Wandale Robinson has 25 receptions and Malik Neighbors goes over, I hope he's okay. That last catch, he had a concussion, but everything went according to script except for the Giants winning, which technically, if you're not a Giants fan, that is according to script.
And there's a lot of activity on X, Gambling X, about Aubrey missing that field goal on purpose. They got the call from Vegas and finally missed a 50-yarder. That was insane, man. That was insane, though.
Yeah.
Like, what a brutal way, if you did bet the spread, to lose that one.
He's my fantasy kicker, so that hurt a little bit. And that was his first miss as a professional football player. So
yeah, that's where the
solid run.
Yeah, that's where all the controversy came from.
Yeah, no, I saw it.
All
we
good.
cashed our bet, so I would have preferred him to hit 3, but we had the 1.5, and we have another kicking prop today too. So don't you worry, all you soccer fans. We got a good one.
Okay. All right. So Thursday night was great. We're gonna keep rolling that money into the weekend. We got a nice big slate. We got, I think, 12 games, something like that, on Sunday, and then we got the doubleheader again on Monday night. So we're going to talk about the Sunday slate here. We're actually just going to run through every game. So if you guys don't have a pick here for me, just tell me pass. Or if you just think this game is just not worth watching, we'll just pass. But let's start off. Let's go with Minnesota Green Bay. Green Bay -3 at home. Totals 43.5. I picked this game because I know Tom always loves betting any game that involves Jordan Love, and it looks like Jordan Love's going to be back. Is that correct, Tom?
That's what they're saying. I don't know. I'm not buying it 100%. I think they could be playing some games here. So I don't know. Is there a chance that we could still see Malik Willis out there? I think maybe, but yeah, Green Bay is definitely a place I like to look. And I like you get the Aaron Jones homecoming back in Green Bay.
Oh, I didn't even remember that.
Yeah,
That's
man.
Revenge.
And look at this guy. Look at this guy. 3.5 receptions. You're right on the page there. 5 receptions in each of his last 2 games, 6 targets in both games. Plus 115 on DK. I love his reception line. I also love his receiving yards line, 21.5. That's minus 115 on DK. But just look at running backs against Green Bay.
Yeah, Tony Pollard let us down last week. We were on that, but before that, even Spears had a big game, right? 54. Yeah. Who else has had some big games? Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That's you're talking about rushing yards, right?
No, receiving yards.
Oh, receiving yards. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jonathan Taylor, 32. Sorry, I thought that was rushing. I was like, that's a bad game for Jonathan Taylor.
Saquon.
Barkley, 23. Yeah. All good, man. And then it even dates back to last season.
It's green check every game. Every running back that to face them has a green check next to their name this season.
So this guy, with the good matchup and the extra motivation to do his thing at his old home,
hammer it. Let's go.
Hammer it. Aaron Jones. All right. Anybody else in this game for you, Tom?
That's all I have for this game.
Let me hit up a couple. I'm not going to lock these in probably till closer to the weekend, but wide receivers against Minnesota is a phenomenal matchup so far this year. Minnesota's given up the second most yards to opposing wide receivers. So Romeo Doubs, 38.5 receiving yards. Jaden Reed, 48.5 receiving yards. Those are both really good spots. I think both of them are going to sail over, especially if Love plays. So those are really just kind of like keep an eye on those, keep an eye on the news, lock those in if you get a feel that Love's going to play, because I think both of those guys are going over.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good matchup. The other sneaky little spot I just happened to be looking at earlier, Jaden Reed, rushing and receiving, I believe. The guy, he's one of the top, he said like some of the most rush attempts. He said, I believe that was him. It was just something interesting. I always like to find sneaky little spots like that with wide receivers that are getting some carries, and he was up there as like the the wide receiver with the third or fourth most carries this season. So I thought that was an interesting angle on him.
But look at these performances so far. You had Neighbors 66 receiving yards, Debo 110, Tank Dell 62, Diggs 94, and Nico Collins 86, all in one game. So Minnesota's winning, but they're giving up a lot of yards in the air. So I think this is a good spot for one or both of these receivers, especially if their QB is back.
Yeah.
Tim, you got anything in this game?
I do. Real quick before I get into it, though, you're talking about the rushing receiving. Remember on the last show, we were talking about CeeDee Lamb 100 plus, Neighbors 100 plus, and I said go with the CeeDee Lamb rushing plus receiving, and it would 98 receiving yards, and that rushing put him over. So we had that Neighbors 100 plus, him 100 plus receiving. That would have been that 2-yard insurance we got. So there's another example of where that rushing plus receiving, it can hurt you. Neighbors had -4 or -6 yards rushing, but he still had plenty of receiving yards.
Yeah, it's a sneaky way of getting some buffer. So
Jaden Reed has 89 rushing yards this season on 5 attempts. So
nice.
He's getting the ball. Let's look at Braden Narvison, the kicker for Green Bay. He's played 3 games in the NFL, and he has kicked 9 field goals, 3 field goals per game. So
I thought you were about to give out a hockey play. I was like, who the hell is Braden Narvison?
Yeah, he actually tried in the NHL, but just like Brandon Aubrey, who went to soccer first, they all end up in the NFL. This is just it doesn't matter if Malik, Justin Love, doesn't matter if Aaron Rodgers comes back or Brett Favre comes out of retirement. It seems as if he's going to be attempting and kicking field goals. I know Minnesota may not be the best opponent, but this is just he has got attempts and he's converted. So him 1.5 is even money, or 105 on DraftKings, I believe. And so that game, I take that straight. I'm doing that one, and then I'm pairing him with another kicker for like a plus 250. So the that's strictly just three a game. Let's just keep doing it till it doesn't. Not a lot of research on that one.
I like that. Okay. All right. Anything else? Are you ready to move on?
That's all I got for that game.
All right. You guys got anything for Cincy at Carolina? Carolina's getting 4.5 points at home. Totals 47.5. So this is one of the higher total games of the week.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Let's hear it, Tom.
Oh, go ahead. I bet it's the same.
I got you have a nice matchup against Carolina running the ball. So I like Zach Moss over 52.5 rush yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. He's gone over this in 13 of his last 17 games when he has 10 plus rush attempts. This season, 9 in his first in week 1, 12 each of the last 2 weeks. And then you look when they played the Chargers, Dobbins ran for 131. Gus Edwards ran for 59. When they played the Saints, Kamara ran for 83. Jamal Williams ran for 38.
Wow.
So you have some big rushing output there. Cincinnati's favored in the game on the road. They should be up, looking to run the clock. Carolina has the second worst run stop win rate in the league. Cincinnati, 6th best. So huge mismatch right there on the line in terms of rushing. So love this play on Zach Moss.
It's hard to argue with that. Look at that history with 12 plus attempts.
Yeah.
Should easily get 12, I would think, in this game. Tim, was that your play, or you got something else?
No, what's his name? Xavier Legette or something like that, right? Yeah. So just keep an eye on him. I'm not using it yet, but I would say as we start to give out our legs, Adam Thielen is out, and with him and the old Philly or Pittsburgh. Why can't I think of his name? Deontay Johnson.
Yeah,
Johnson. My fantasy baggage for so long. We saw what happened with Andy Dalton. Just keep an eye on him, either 25 plus or his full line. If he gets the snap count that he should be with Adam Thielen out, somebody has to get all those targets. So that's my only real look into this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. He only had 3 targets last week, it looks like.
But Adam Thielen had 400, and so did Johnson. So I'm thinking we might be able to slide under the radar here. But I'm also starting to see him a lot getting picked up in fantasy, which scares me.
No, I like that. And it fits right into the game script, like Tom pointed out. Like, kind of understand what you expect to happen in this game. The Bengals should win this game, should be up by a decent amount. I mean, it's only a 4.5 point game, but they are on the road. So yes, that will lead to the Panthers throwing and the Bengals running. So I like both of those plays.
Yeah, that was my only real dive into this one so far.
I got another one.
All right.
Tight ends have a great matchup against Carolina. So I'm looking at Mike Gesicki here, over 26.5 receiving yards. Let's get some tight end action going on, Tim.
You're talking my language now.
Nice targets this season, 4, 9, and 5 through 3 weeks. Against Carolina, Bowers had 41 receiving yards. Will Dissly, 29. In the same game against the Saints, Juwan Johnson, 26. Foster Moreau, 43. When Gesicki's had 4 plus targets, he's cleared this line in 21 of his last 28 games. When he's had 5 plus targets, remember, he's had 5 plus each of the last 2 weeks, including 9 in week 2. 18 of his last 20 games, clearing 26.5 receiving yards. Love this look for him. He's a favorite of Joe Burrow's.
Yeah,
it's hard to argue with that. And honestly, that trend, we've pointed this out in the past, but that trend kind of dates back to last season too, right? If you just scroll on props.cash, like look at all these tight ends that have cleared their line. So much green, not just this season, but last season as well. So
that's what tight ends do.
Well, not this season, but maybe week 4 is the week of the tight end.
Got us last night. Fergie had us plenty on all receptions, yards. He should have had a touchdown. Dak Prescott's a terrible quarterback, and he even covered I think he had 7 or 8. So he got us where we needed to be. He's back.
Okay.
Oh, and the live drives. He got us on the live drives twice. That was a party last night.
Tight ends are good for live drive bets. I love that.
Oh,
I got one more real quick for this game. Andre, you want to help me with his last name? Iosivas.
Oh yeah. He Burrow seems to really like this guy, especially
Dude,
in the
just
red
click
zone.
on last 5 because that's all we need to look at for him. He like that's as other than that, he was like playing 20% of the snaps. So these are the games that he's actually been on the field for normal snap count. His receptions are really nice. 2.5 receptions, minus 135 on DraftKings. Look at the targets over the last 5 games. Look at the receptions.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a home run.
I think he was in the NHL last year too.
Yeah,
Andre
feels like it.
He's Savias or whatever. Yeah.
they've said his last name. Every announcer has said his last name different. Like every game so far. It's been really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yoshivas. Thanks,
Yoshivas,
Jordan.
is that
Appreciate it.
Thank you for. I mean, and honestly, this guy's like good to sprinkle an anytime touchdown on because he seems to be a very targeted guy when it comes to the red zone for Burrow. So I like that. I like that look for the targets.
Quick call out. We have a great comment. I'm disappointed in myself for overlooking this from Breed of One on YouTube saying, watch out for Eric All Jr. Burrow's got a connection with him. We're talking about tight ends against Carolina. There's no lines out on him yet, but that's a great call. If you see some lines on Eric All Jr., awesome rookie. I think that's a great spot to look at.
Yeah, 4 receptions.
Technically a tight end. They've been talking about him as a wide receiver.
He's a tight end. Yeah.
Oh, they called him a wide receiver on the live show. I haven't looked at him in fantasy yet. It's how he's classified yet. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, no. Burrow seems to be really loving the tight ends this year. So
good call, Breed of One.
Yeah, good look. All right, let's keep moving. We got Denver at
baby.
New York Jets. The second best team in New York, I would say. Not behind the Giants. Don't worry. That's not what I was implying.
Oh, I was thinking that they were the second best football team in New York.
Jets are minus 7.5 at home. When was the last time we ever said that? Total in this is disgusting. 39.5. What do you like here? Tim, why don't you start? Let make Tom wait. This is his team.
I like nothing about this game at all.
Okay,
I think they should just cancel it, give them both losses, and move on. No, I'm just kidding. Will Lutz is on a streak. He's a great kicker. He has had 2, 3, and 4 field goals for Denver. Denver is dog shit, and they're going to have to kick field goals again. You can get him at minus 125 over 2 or over 1.5 field goals.
Look at that.
Yeah, he's back. If you remember Will Lutz from the Dome days with New Orleans, he is a great kicker. He's old, but he's a great kicker. So I got him 1.5. Add him to the other hockey players that are going to score 2 field goals.
Narvison.
Yeah, you see, you got it. And then what's the other? Oh, tight end, of course. Keep an eye out for the Aaron Rodgers' new favorite target, Tyler Conklin. And I think that there's a connection. I think there's a little connection there. So I'm not going to put a ton of money on it, but he's like definitely something that I'm looking for receptions. I don't think he's gonna have another 93-yard game, but he's like a receptions 25 plus all day for me.
I'm actually willing to say he never has a 93-yard game the rest of his career.
I bet he breaks 100 this season. Aaron Rodgers has been dumping it to that man.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really target him very much in the first 2 games, but Garrett Wilson was kind of held in check a bit last week, and because of that, I think Conklin was open. So yeah, I could definitely see this. 2.5 receptions seems great. The yards seem great. I think that's a good look.
I like him
Tom.
2. I like him 2 and 25.
2 and 20. Oh, you put those 2 together.
No. You can, yes, but those would be the 2 legs I'd look at. I like 2 receptions the best of anything his direction.
Okay.
So if we were going to build something with like a 2 reception or a 1, 2, 3 like we did last night, he would be my 2, and I'd feel really good about it.
I think we're going to keep making Tom wait. I think Conklin for 2 receptions, right? Which, he's only done in 1 game so far this season. But if you go back to last year, it was like an almost every week thing. And Breece Hall. Breece Hall for 4 receptions has kind of been pretty money this season, right? So he's had 5, 7, and 4. So also a big target. So maybe Breece Hall for 3 receptions, 4 receptions, something like that, to start to build up some sort of builder there. Could be nice.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
into it.
All
He
right,
did
Tom,
have
what do you
2
got?
targets. Real quick, he had 2 targets in those games.
Yeah.
where he only had 1 reception, and he wasn't fit into the game plan like he was the last game. I think that last game is much more. If his floor is 1 and we just need 2, I feel really, really good about it.
Yeah, seems great. What do you like here, Tom?
All right, so there's a revenge narrative in this game. I just want to remind everyone of Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator of the Jets, was run out of town as the head coach of the Broncos. Sean Payton talked a lot of smack about the way things were run when Hackett was the head coach there. So there's been some chatter this week about and Rodgers and Hackett, but that's why Hackett's in New York, because of his relationship with Rodgers. Them looking for to exact some revenge on Sean Payton and the Broncos and run that score up this weekend. So just wanted to call that out first. Secondly, I believe, Dave, if I remember correctly, this was the game, the Jets against the Broncos last year, right, where we had our monster Breece Hall touchdown, 100+ yards, right? Was that not the big cash we had? He had 177 rushing yards in that game. One touchdown. This was the game, right?
This is the game.
Yeah.
I still haven't explained to my wife fully why I was like screaming when Breece Hall broke for that long touch. What was that? Yeah, 72-yard run. It was a big win. One of the biggest tickets we've ever won. So I think this. Are you implying that he's going to do it again?
I'm not implying he's going to do it again. He's in a tremendous spot. I think while I do think the Jets laying 7.5 is probably a little too much for this game. I thought the Broncos, I think, are not as bad as people think. I think they've looked pretty decent, especially over the last game and a half or so. But I like his rushing yards here with the Jets as a favorite at home, 66.5 rushing yards, -130 on DraftKings. Look at some of the running backs against Denver. And then, same coaching staff as last year when he ran for 177 yards. A lot of green checks there besides our man Rachaad White. So,
but Bucky Irving did it.
Yep.
So if Bucky can do it, then Breece can certainly do it. I like that. Yeah. It seems good. And honestly, I kind of feel like Breece Hall's either gonna come up like at 50 yards again, or like end up with 100+ again. So this could be a good opportunity to ladder Breece Hall. Seems like a really good spot for him.
Yeah. And remember last week, his yards are down 54. 43 of those yards came in the first half. It was a massive blowout against the Pats. Now, remember, they played last Thursday, so they're on extra rest right now against Denver. So I think this is a nice spot for the Jets.
Yeah. And honestly, you could probably get 50+ rushing yards. Again, if we're building a builder in this game, 50+ rushing yards for Breece Hall will probably be like -300 or something like that. -3 something would be an excellent leg to pair with some of the other things we were talking about.
Yes, sir.
Tim's already cooking it up. I see him. The brain is spinning.
So I'm going to do whatever you guys do on Breece Hall. I love it. But I was just thinking about Aaron Rodgers and how he returned to his 18 yards of glory last game. And he's set up nicely to potentially have some rush yards in this game. I'm not going to pull the trigger on him, but his line's either 2.5 or 3.5, depending on where you get him. And then the crackheads at Fanatics have him at 5.5. He had 18 last game. So I'm curious. Do you think, as the resident Jets supporter, do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to move down the field again?
Not if you can avoid it. It's not something I'm getting behind. No.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be an outlier on the season when we look back on it. Yeah.
Yep. I'm not touching it, but he popped up in a lot of my models, as the streaks and the recents and the lines and the closing line and stuff like that. And I'm just like, nope, this is not what you think it is.
I will say I found his rushing attempts to be interesting because there was a player on the defensive side for New England that had an opportunity on one of those runs to just totally kill Rodgers. Like, he was still in bounds. He could have just ended his career. And you saw the respect that Rodgers gets, and also the knowledge that if you even bump into that guy, you're going to get a flag. So he is a little untouchable. So maybe he takes off. But I think that's like you might as well just go to the casino and spin the slots on a Rodgers rushing play. So I'll pass on that. But it is an excellent segue to our next game, New Orleans at Atlanta. Atlanta -1.5. Total is 42.5 in this game. Atlanta is giving up the number 1 rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks. Part of that is because of the quarterbacks they've played, but it does lead me to an immediate question for you, Tim. Is this a Derek Carr rushing game again?
Couldn't be more of a Derek Carr get back rushing game. Look at his last 4 though. Like this is comical, but also he's been going and we should have cashed the one that we missed, and he scored a touchdown on that game at 1 yard and it was 1.5. So in my mind, he cashed it, even though technically he didn't hit the 1.5.
Yeah.
But, going against Atlanta, what they've given up, I think he runs for his life one time and can even fall down for 2 yards. So this is an auto. I love this about our Discord. I didn't even have to give this out. I woke up this morning and like 5 people just knew based on models that I look for. They're like, what are we doing here? And then they're doing my job for me. So yes, 1 yard for Derek Carr.
I think this was 1.5 before, and I think it came down. Now DraftKings, DraftKings popped up for a half a yard. So
super mega 10-unit whale lock, whatever.
Mahomes 17, Jalen Hurts 85, Justin Fields 57. I would say Derek Carr fits right into that mold.
Textbook. Yeah.
And whoa, I didn't even realize this. His last time he played Atlanta at the end of last season, he had 6 yards. So
that's 6 times what you need. Show me another guy that's getting. Show me somebody that's covering their line by 6.
Can we ladder him for like 3, 4, and 5 yards?
No. Anytime touchdown though, he might snake Kamara again, and that could be something. But
dude, I love that. All right, Derek Carr rushing yards, lock it in on DraftKings.
1 yard touchdown, you cash the touchdown and you cash that. But yeah, what's the juice at on that? I'm trying to pull it up right now.
-120, not bad.
Yeah, dude, smack that absolutely as hard.
And Atlanta's favored in this game, and Atlanta should win this game.
I think New Orleans wins this game.
New Orleans has been playing well, but Atlanta's been playing some tough competition. They got a pretty good team. So if we just go by the books, like this, hopefully is not a situation where Carr is kneeling down at the end. But whatever. All right, so from one rushing monster to another, Derek Carr to Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, come on, man, 65.5 rushing yards. It's actually my favorite play of the week. Atlanta's middle of the pack in terms of total rushing yards. So when you just look at kind of how they're defending the rush, it's actually pretty good holistically across all running backs. But when you dive into the details here on props.cash, you notice that opposing running backs, the starting running back has cleared 70 plus yards in every game, right? So Carson Steele, first game starting for the Chiefs last week, 72 yards. Saquon Barkley, monster game, 95 yards. And Najee Harris, week 1, had 70 yards. So Kamara has just been dominant. Look at his rushing attempts this year. 15 in week 1, 20 in week 2, 26 in week 3. This guy's going to get 65.5. What do you guys think? Is this a lock here?
Yeah, I mean, Kamara just looks like he's so rejuvenated. It's like we said, it's like Kamara from 5 years ago. Not sure what's happening over there, or if it's even sustainable for the duration of the whole season. But let's ride it while we can here.
Yeah, Atlanta's giving up so many rushing attempts. This is partly why I like Derek Carr, is being worried about Kamara. So yeah, I'm with you on it.
All right, let's roll.
What's receiving? I'm curious.
That is also nice at 95.5, and he's always a great option for that. He's cleared that in all 3 games, so I think that's also very nice. It gives you the flexibility of one of those like little screen passes or dumps over the line in the flat to just take off and get a 40-yarder, which he's capable of. So,
what did he do last time against the head-to-head?
Rush receive, he's cleared in 4 of his last 5 games against Atlanta. Rushing, he's cleared in 3 of his last 5, and receiving, he's cleared in 2 of his last 5. So really, the rush receive is one of maybe the best option in terms of consistency. So that's another way to approach it. I like that.
And just
All
for
right.
just for comparison, that would be like Derek Carr to do as well as Derek Carr cleared last time. That'd be about 475 yards out of him, just to show you how good Derek Carr is. So
I think
do with that.
I think that's the main reason why Kamara is playing so well. He's threatened by Derek Carr's running capabilities, and he's
going to take over his RB1.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Obvious.
all right, Tom, what do you got in this thing? Anything?
Are we feeling anybody? Can either of you guys get behind Derek Carr passing yards in this game, or is that something I mean, Atlanta just seems like, I know it's a little bit skewed, I feel like, because they played Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts, so like the numbers were down a little bit in terms of the passing game. And I guess even Mahomes only made it to 217 last week. Carr's line's at 219 and a half. Look at him the last two times he played Atlanta. Pretty nice matchups. And if you just look, where were we last? What was I looking at here? On the road, I believe he's pretty great. Been pretty great on the road. If you look at him with there's a few games where he came out for injury. So if you bring his snap count up to in the 80%, 85%, something like that. So the ones where he did actually play the full game, look at him on the road.
Yeah.
Look at
pretty
that.
Good.
Pretty good. I mean, skewing a little bit more to to the left there. So
the Raider days. Yeah.
But I don't know. Their offense has been pretty high octane in a great spot against. I mean, this Atlanta defense is not good.
Yeah. It's it seems good. I don't know.
The worst pass rush win rate by far this season. So he should have time to throw the ball. So that was one. And then the other one, I like one of the receivers. I like Shaheed in this game, 45 and a half receiving yards. Is that where we're at? Yeah, 45 and a half. The last two games against Atlanta, look at him against Atlanta. He's done pretty well. That other game, he only played like 20% of the snaps, so we can not look at that one. The other two, he was in the 60 to 70% range, which is where he's been this season. He's done it in 2 of 3 games this season. The one he didn't was that terrible Ofer game against Philly, where he was targeted 5 times, had 0 receptions. I think that's that's an outlier there. So I think he has a nice bounce back spot here in a team that he's performed well against historically.
Yeah, and he's always a good look for longest reception too. Yeah. Honestly, I honestly think I like playing longest reception better for this guy because look at the yards. 65, 73, and 96 in those 3 games, of which 39, 59, and 70 came on one pass. Yeah. So he's a long ball threat, which is why he can put up a 0 and a 9, or he can put up 70. Yeah. So I think take the value at 21 and a half longest. That's where I would
nice.
go.
It's a good look.
All right. Let's keep moving. We got a lot of games to cover. Jacksonville at Houston. Houston minus 6.5, totals 44.5. Tim, anything in this one?
Let me check. Sorry, I was getting sidetracked with some.
I got mini
props.
All right, you start us off, Tom.
All right, I think this is a great look. We saw what Josh Allen and the Bills did to Jacksonville on Monday. Right, that was Monday night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now they're on slightly short rest now against this Houston team, needing a nice little bounce back spot here. You have great matchups in the passing game, both in terms of quarterback and wide receiver. I think this is a great spot for CJ Stroud, over 264.5 passing yards. He's been awesome at home. Look at him at home versus on the road. 7 of his last 10 at home, averaging 302 passing yards, including 304 yards against Jacksonville at home last season. And then if you look at him on the road, 2 of his last 10 on the road. So big home road splits there for him. They're at home against division rival Jacksonville. Josh Allen, like we saw, put up 263 yards, 247 of which came in the first half alone. And then Tua in week 1, 338 passing yards against Jacksonville. So I think this is a nice get right spot for Houston.
They looked like their defense looked like a high school defense in that game against Buffalo. I mean, it was porous to say the least. So Stroud should get his yards. Definitely, I like that full line. I also would consider putting him in a builder. Take that down to 200.
So I think you put I think a Stroud Collins 2-leg builder for this game is just that it just is screaming to me. I like Collins 80 plus receiving yards minus 130 on DK. He's got an awesome receiving matchup like we said already. When he's seen 60% of the snaps, so filtering out a couple games where he played low snap counts, 8 of his last 10 averaging 114 yards. 8 of his last 10 at home, averaging 112 receiving yards. So I think that's nice. And then if you want to do some sort of builder, putting him at 60 receiving yards, he's done that in 10 straight games. That's minus 340. So if you wanted to do something like that, or you could do, 4 receptions. He's done in 16 of his last 19, 5 receptions, 9 of his last 11. So I think there's a few different ways you could play Collins here. If you want to link him up with Stroud, to get like an even money 2-leg builder, I think that's a great look in this game.
Yeah, I really like Nico Collins. The whole season I've liked him, but yeah, Jacksonville's given up the 5th most receiving yards to opposing receivers. So I took him down to 60, and I actually paired him with Brian Thomas Jr., who's also been super consistent this season. His total line is 44.5, 45.5. He's actually cleared that in all 3 games. So these 2 guys are actually 2 of the receivers that have actually cleared their full line in every game. And there's not many of them left. It might be the only 2. But Houston's also giving up the 11th most receiving yards to opposing wide receivers. So I like a little bit of buffer for the young guy. So I'm taking Brian Thomas down to 40 receiving yards, pairing that with Nico Collins for 60 receiving yards. That alone gets you to plus 121. Nice. And if you want to throw Stroud in there, you could probably get up to plus 200 or more.
Yeah, sweet.
Okay. Tim, anything you've discovered for this game?
Yeah. Schulte is my only look here. Similar to Tyler Conklin, 2 receptions out of Schulte. I have him, Conklin, like we talked about with Aaron Rodgers, 2+2+. And then there is a slew of wide receivers that you can, tight ends, that you can add into this to get it around plus money or even money.
Wow.
Like old Tommy Tremble's up in Carolina, or maybe a Mike Gesicki that we talked about. There's a few more. I don't think Evan Ingram's going to play. I'm really mad that they have his stuff on there. I have him in fantasy, and they keep telling me he's not playing. So if Evan Ingram were to play, I think he's, depending on health, I would be into it, but I'm going to let him get one under his belt before we putting money on the most targeted tight end last year. So Tommy Tremble, Dalton Schultz, and like Tyler Conklin that we talked about, all those are in that 2+ reception.
2-2-2.
We'll have 3, but stick with 2 and just keep safe.
Love that.
He's like minus
right.
300 for 2 receptions or something. So, just throw it in there as a leg.
Great. Let's keep moving. Pittsburgh at Indy. Indy's getting 1.5 at home. Totals 39.5 in this game. Let's go through this one quickly. Tom, just list out your picks here.
Yeah, I like Justin Fields. Passing yards, 177 passing yards. Seems pretty low. Caleb Williams threw for 363 last week. CJ Stroud threw for 234 in week 1. And great matchup against Indiana. Number 2 in air yards per attempt. Number 7 in QB completions. So I think this is a nice spot for Justin Fields.
Does seem low.
It seems low for him, 177. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll pair that with George Pickens for 51.5 receiving yards. That's also kind of pairs really well. I almost would say those two are fairly correlated. But if you look at Pickens, his line is on the rise. I grabbed it earlier at 51.5. It's already up to 52.5 on FanDuel this season so far, which again, remember he's the wide receiver 1 now there. 85 he had a low game at 29 versus Denver and then bounced back 57 against the Chargers. So I think he's good for another 52 to 53 plus receiving yards. Okay.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Anybody else in this, Tim?
Yeah, Patty Fryermuth. Keep going with the tight ends, man. He's had 4 receptions in every game so far this season, and he's got 2 or 3 each in head-to-head. So his 2 receptions is for sure a leg in any of those tight ends. You could tell there's gonna be a lot of tight end quarterback plays coming from me, but his 3+ and 2+ are both very viable options. They're giving up receptions to tight end, and he's getting targeted. So that
Beautiful.
and Chris Boswell, longtime kicker for them, has gone over 1.5 field goals in every game. We talked about kickers earlier. If you pair Boswell with any other kicker I've given out, you get about plus 250. So
I think you've given out every play you've given out is under 5 or less so far this week. I believe that's just phenomenal. It's excellent consistency by you.
What do you mean?
5, 1.5 field goals, 2 receptions, one rushing yard. It's so tight.
We just like to use one hand to count.
One hand,
You
yeah.
can't count that high. We talked about it on the call before. You guys are much smarter than me. The fewer fingers, the better. And my last 2 smacks are singles, so you're going to be excited.
I love that. Just one other look here. I'm not even going to dive into the details, but I did want to point out something that I saw in this game. Indy's giving up the number 1 rushing yards in the league. If you look at to opposing running backs, DeAndre Swift did not have a particularly great game with 20 rushing yards, but before that, Josh Jacobs 151 and Joe Mixon 159. So I actually think this is a great spot for Najee as well to dominate. He's also cleared his line in all 3 games this season with super consistency. But look at this. Look at this. I was shocked. Look at his rush attempts. He's up to 17.5 rush attempts. It is actually, I think, even up to 18.5 at one point. So if you look, I'm not going to do it, but if you look at his consistency of getting to 60 plus yards with like 15 plus rush attempts, it's phenomenal. So I'm going to also ride with Najee Harris for the rushing yards, either as a full straight play or 60 plus as part of a parlay. Okay.
Nice. All right.
Rams, Bears -3, another low total, 40.5. Let's go through this game quickly because I feel like this is going to be ugly, but go ahead, Tom. What do you like here?
Just real quick, Chicago's offensive line is not great. 3rd worst in terms of pass blocking, but the Rams have the lowest quarterback pressure rate in the league this season. They've allowed the number 2 yards per attempt, number 1 air yards per attempt, number 2 in completions of 20 plus yards, number 1 in completions of 30 plus yards. So coming off his big 363-yard passing performance last week, I'm going to continue to ride with Caleb Williams here in a nice spot over 220.5 passing yards. Purdy put up 292 against the Rams. Kyler Murray put up 266. I think Caleb got a good one under his belt, and I like this spot for him.
Yeah, you were on his season long, I believe.
Yes,
so
that's
you're
right.
we need
I need
to
some of these.
we need a couple 300s to catch up on those first 2 weeks. But yeah, this should be a good spot for him.
Yeah.
Tim, anything else in this game?
No. Wait. Look at
Cole Kmet.
Yeah, he finally.
Are there lines out though? I've been waiting for lines for him to come out because it's a great spot. But
No,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. Look for that. I drafted him, waited 2 weeks, decided he must not be a part of this new offense, dropped him, and then he went absolutely nuclear.
He went
so
berserk.
hurts my feelings, but keep an eye out for him.
All right, that's the early slate. We're moving to the afternoon slate, and I'm going to transition with a question for you guys. There's 2 quarterbacks in the league that appeals very much to Tim's liking that have cleared their rushing line this week in all 3 games this season. So there's only 2 that have cleared it in all 3 games. One of which is Kyler Murray. And and who is the other?
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy is the right answer. Let's go into New England at San Francisco. San Francisco's minus 10.5. Tim, are you on Brock Purdy rushing?
Oh my God, I couldn't be more. The only person I might be more into is Derek Carr this week. He's at 6.5 yards. How? How is it 6.5 yards? I'm confused.
Yeah, it's a good spot coming off.
Oh,
of
he went to 7.5.
He was at 6.5. Yeah, I had six
Like
and a half
literally
written
10
down
minutes
here.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
minus 125 on DK. 7.5 is good. I mean, listen, he's either going to get 10 plus or nothing. So I think
Yeah.
you still take him at 7.5, right?
Oh, 100%. I was going to say if you can find a little like alt line that's like the 10 plus, throw him in any of those.
Yeah.
games.
And let me
Look what Aaron
point
Rodgers
out,
did.
Aaron Rodgers, from your earlier point, put up 18 rushing yards on multiple rushing attempts against New England. Geno also cleared this 7.5 with 8 rushing yards, and Joe Burrow week 1 had 15. So decent matchup, and this is a super consistent guy. So let's roll with Purdy over 6.5 or 7.5, wherever you can get it.
Yes, that's mine from there.
That was
That's
my
favorite.
play of this game as well. Tom, you got
I love that
anything
we're
else?
aligned on that.
Yeah, I like it's a nice matchup for the receivers for San Francisco. So you still have Debo questionable to play, Kittle expecting to play, but also coming off he's a little banged up. So I like Ayuk here over 62.5 receiving yards. When he's had 5+ targets at home, he's cleared 15 of his last 20 games, averaging 81 yards at home. When he sees 5+ targets, he should get plenty of good looks against this New England team. And
he held out too, right, for the preseason. So
yes.
Those guys who hold out on the preseason, they're basically using the first 2-3 weeks of the season as their warm up. So this could be the game where Ayuk pops a bit. So I like that look.
Yeah, 10 targets last week, and then 5. Even those first 2 weeks when he was just getting warmed up, he had 5 targets in both of those games.
Just wasn't catching them.
Yeah, so I think he sees at least 5 targets, so that's nice hit rate, especially at home at 5 targets. And then Juwan Jennings receptions. Where is he here?
175 receiving yards last week. Insane. Yeah.
Crazy, right? Are they? I don't know if there's lines out yet. I just wanted to call it out. 2+ receptions for him would be a great leg if it comes out later. 21 straight games when he's had 4+ targets. He's had 4 targets in every single all 3 games, 4+ in all 3 games this season. And then also 25+ receiving yards as a leg. He's done that in 13 straight games when he's had 4 targets. So I think those could be, if they come out later, which I would imagine sometime this weekend, you'll see those. I think those are nice looks here.
He's so annoying though. Like he's like every time you bet on Kittle or Ayuk or Samuel,
I know.
It's always Jennings. It's like, where did this guy come from? Why is he having such a big game? He's always like, sniping those. But
in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. Was he the one who threw the ball? Was he the one who had a passing touchdown in the Super Bowl game, or was that Ayuk? Who I can't remember. One of them did something.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tim, anything else in this one, or just rolling with Purdy?
Purdy was my look. He's over in 6 straight. So
let's do it.
He's my favorite in that game.
All right. Next, we're moving to Washington and Arizona. Arizona's -3.5 at home. Total is 50.5, so the highest total on the board. Tom, what do you got in this one?
What do I have in this one? I put the wrong tag on this one. Sorry. I like Marvin Harrison, 70+ receiving yards, -135 on DK. His targets 3 in week 1, 8 in week 2, 11 in week 3. Wide receivers against Washington: Jamar Chase 118, Malik Neighbors 127. Remember, Malik Neighbors was the 6th overall pick by the Giants. Marvin Harrison was the 4th overall pick, so he's going to have to prove why he was picked before Neighbors and best his 127. And then he even had Chris Godwin in week 1 with 83 receiving yards. Yeah, this is a no-brainer. Let's go.
It does seem that way. It also seems like a longest reception could be good as well. But yeah, this seems like he could put up 100+ in this game. So
Yeah.
All right. Anything for you, Tim, in this one?
Matt Prater. He's over 1.5 field goals in 5 straight, 100% last 5, 100% head to head. This season, he's kicked 2 in every game. He got 3 last year against Washington. So I'm going. Austin Seibert had 7 against the Giants, then 1 last week. So I feel like he's going to figure out a middle ground. So I have Austin Seibert as a maybe, but Matt Prater just based on his consistency and his numbers.
I love how we told you couldn't talk about soccer on the pod, and then you work around it by just talking about kickers the whole pod. Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a really good week. It's not always this good for kickers. It's a really good week for the data, the history, and then like head to head. So we'll see if it continues, but they have been kicking so many field goals, bringing the soccer back into football. Love it.
All right, let's go. Game of the week.
Whoa,
KC.
hold on. Wait.
You got more on this game? I thought you only had 1 play.
No, I got more. Dude, this is the highest total of the weekend. We got it.
All right.
Game,
that's
we got
part
a target
of the kicker
here.
thing too. They're gonna be points.
You ruined my thunder, but go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I like Kyler rushing yards here over 34.5. Washington's defense is terrible. Now they're on a short week. They got to travel cross country to Arizona. He's cleared in all 3 games this season. Against when they played the Giants, Washington led up 32 rushing yards to Daniel Jones. Baker Mayfield ran for 21. If you look, he's very consistent. 5 rush attempts in all 3 games this season. I think he gets there easily in this one. Also love him as a leg to a builder, 25 plus rushing yards. He's done in 20 of his last 22 games, including 11 straight home games. He's had 25 plus rushing yards. So this is a great little, that's a great leg for a builder on Kyler Murray against the Commanders.
Absolutely. He's going to be airing it out, but he's going to have plenty of opportunity to run too. So, okay. What else you got?
Last one, Zach Ertz. Just coming off playing his last 3 seasons in Arizona. He was waived after requesting to be released last season. So maybe a little bit of a narrative here going back to Arizona. Over 2.5 receptions. It's a little juicy at -175. So maybe you put it as some sort of builder here. 3 of 3 this season. Targets 4, 4, and 5 through the first 3 games. He's a nice little outlet there for Jaden Daniels to go to. Consistently playing 64+% of snaps. So like Zach Ertz homecoming here.
Yeah, they were talking about him a lot in the last Commanders game as Daniels put up like a perfect game for a rookie, but he definitely likes throwing to Ertz, and you can see why, right? He's thrown to him, 4, 4, and 5, and he's caught 3, 4, and 5. So he's only dropped 1 pass. So very, very consistent, very veteran, great narrative. I think that's an awesome play. Parlay that with Murray, 25 rushing yards, and you can have a nice little builder there, maybe.
Let's go.
All right. Are you ready to move on to the game of the week?
Yeah, that's the one game I don't have any plays for. Let's go.
All right. Game of the week.
Are you talking about Tennessee?
No, we're not talking about Tennessee. We're talking about KC, the other C. KC at Chargers. Chargers are getting 7 points at home. Total is 39.5. This is actually not the game of the week. I don't know. That line actually seems the Chargers are not good this year, but that line actually seems a little heavy for a division game because the Chargers always get up to play the Chiefs.
No Herbert.
No Herbert. Yeah, that's true. There's 2 spots on KC that I identified that are great opportunities. One is running back receptions, and the other is tight end receptions. So Chargers are giving up the 2nd most receptions to opposing running backs. Who's our running back for the Chiefs? That's Carson Steele now. So we could
not worry about Kareem Hunt here.
Honestly, I almost if all of the running backs, Pirine, Steele, and Hunt, if they all have receiving lines, I think I'm going to play them all. I've already locked in Carson Steele for 1 reception. It's actually plus money. So we locked that one in. But I think Pirine is the primary target there in the backfield. So I do like him if that line's out. I didn't even check yet. And then obviously Kareem Hunt. There won't be lines out for him, but he'll certainly get some activity returning to the Chiefs after, 5-year absence or something like that. So,
Yeah.
So that's the running back side. On the tight end side, I wanted to get your guys' opinion. We got Kelsey, who's seemingly on his way out the door, but he's obviously got some opportunity in this game to have a little resurgence. And then we got Noah Gray is also the other opportunity. So, Tim, as the tight end whisperer, what do you who would you go with here, Kelsey or Noah Gray, or neither?
So I've accepted that Travis Kelsey, and I empathize, because if I was dating Taylor Swift, I wouldn't give a shit about anything else either. I'd slack off a little bit at work. You know what I mean? Like, there's like joking there, but you can tell he's just isn't the guy he was. And Noah Gray, we cashed him last week. We're gonna cash him again this week. He's one of those 2 receptions, almost like set it and forget it until something crazy happens. I don't know if you guys disagree with me, but I'm just keeping my money in my pocket when it comes to Travis Kelsey this year. I have nothing against him, but it's hard to justify. Every week they're like, oh, this is when he comes back or whatever. And Noah Gray just gets, I mean, he has 2 games where, 1 reception is what we were with him. He's now in 2 reception. He's now getting into the 2 reception club is what I was saying.
But you can probably get him in a builder for 1 reception. It'll be juicy, but you have to put it with something else. Or like you had said, I think when I was talking about his receptions in one of the prior podcasts, you also said just hit up his receiving yards. 11.5 receiving yards, or the longest reception is probably even better play at 9.5. I think either of those are good looks in this game.
I love any play that can cash in one event.
We know
so
that.
A longest reception, sub 10 yards, dude. He doesn't even need a first down. Well, I guess he does, unless they're behind the sticks, but you get it. It's not a huge catch. 10 yards is not crazy. So the 2 receptions, 1 reception builder, or total yards, I'm totally okay with.
Excellent. And let's just see what opposing tight ends have done. Pat Freiermuth, longest reception of 15. Brock Bowers, 26. Those are 2 pretty good comps there. So, all right.
The other tight end from that same game too. So
yeah,
good example.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Let's move on. I didn't have a whole lot on that game. That's just how I like to intro the Chiefs games. Cleveland at Las Vegas. Las Vegas minus 1.5. Total is a low 37.5. What do you like here, Tom?
So you got nice receiving matchups in this game on both sides, but on the Vegas side, I like Jacoby Myers over 36.5 receiving yards, minus 115. His targets going up each week, 3, then 5, then 9, averaging 91% of the snaps he's out on the field for. So I think his straight line is nice. And then if you want to put him as a builder, 3+ receptions for him. He's done in 9 of his last 10, averaging 4.3 receptions per game. When he's had 3+ targets, remember, that's the fewest he's had all season. 3, 5, and 9 is what he's had. 42 of his last 47 games when he's seen just 3 targets, that he's had 3 receptions. So I think, I think that's a nice leg. I think even 4 receptions is a 77% hit rate, 36 of his last 47, and that was plus money, plus 108 on FanDuel. So I think that's a nice spot for him. I think also Bowers, also nice at 39.5 receiving yards, 3 straight games, averaging 7 targets a game in his young career. So Cleveland is a little bit in shambles. They were known dating back to last season. Their defense is just, they're like night and day from home and on the road. They're traveling to Vegas.
That can't be good. That can't be good.
Never good. That was my other comment on Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce with the weekend here in LA. Let's just lay off Travis Kelce in that game. But
and Noah Gray needs to fight for that job. So he's just more focused. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think this is not a great spot for the Cleveland defense here. So I like those 2 receiving pieces, and you could play around with them as different legs from the Raiders side of the ball. And then I got one on the Cleveland side, but I'll let you guys chime in.
No, I like Bowers. I really liked it at 39.5 because that gets you under the 40-yard line, and that's only offered on FanDuel right now. All the other books are well above that. DraftKings at 41.5. So And yeah, Cleveland's given up the 11th most receiving yards to opposing tight ends, 13th most receptions. I'm going to pull a Tim here and try to create something live. I do really like Bowers for three or four receptions. I think is fine. You think he gets to 4, and pair that with Myers for 3. That only gets you to minus 175. So we need probably another leg there, but
I got one for you.
Something with those two. But yeah, what else do you like here?
So pair it up if you want to keep it in the same game. Amari Cooper on the other side of the ball. The dude's tied for 3rd most wide receiver targets so far this season. 9, 8, and 12 in his last game when he set. So that's a minimum of 8 targets through 3 games this season. He's 20 of his last 26 games when he's had 8+ targets. If you look at the last couple of weeks, Deontay Johnson, 122 receiving yards on 8 receptions on 14 targets. And then Zay Flowers a couple weeks earlier, 11 targets, 7 receptions, 91 receiving yards. So I don't know if I called it. I was Cooper over 52.5 receiving yards is the play I like here.
Yeah. Houston,
I think
Houston really won that trade for Deshaun Watson, man. What a
think?
steal.
You think?
Go ahead, Tim.
No, I was looking at him too.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of volume.
You could throw him in for 3 receptions in there. Bowers 4, Myers 3, Amari Cooper 3. That gets you to like minus 107. So that's playable.
Nice.
That's playable.
Nice. Yeah.
What about Jerome Ford in here, Tom? I was pretty sure you're going to talk about Jerome Ford a little bit. Nothing.
Receiving.
Jerome Ford, I believe it was rushing yards at 42.5. It's gone up a little bit. Yeah, it's gone up to 43.5. Vegas has given up the 3rd most rushing yards to opposing running backs. You can see a couple of the comps. Chuba Hubbard 114, Derrick Henry 84, and then Dobbins 135. So definitely some decent running games against Vegas. It's really just about game script. Do we think Cleveland will stay in this game enough to rush? He is projected for 12.5 rush attempts, which he hasn't even gotten to yet this season in any game. So I think Jerome Ford's in a nice spot. Again, a low line of 44.5. You could even bring him down a little bit and get him as part of a builder for 40+ or even 25+ and throw it in with some of the other stuff we're talking about.
My only concern would be maybe they're not Cleveland is, I just feel like they're reeling right now. Watson's not great, and maybe they're just not in position to be running the ball that much, but I guess that's why you're seeing the line at 44.
And it's a 1.5 point spread here, so I do think this will stay competitive. Vegas isn't a very good team either, so this will stay competitive enough to I think for Ford to get his 12+ carries. So all right, Tim, anything else in this one?
No, I don't think so. I don't really like this game, to be honest.
I don't really. Anything involving Cleveland is not fun.
I live too close to Cleveland as it is.
Let's wrap it up then with the Sunday night game. We got the Bills at the Ravens. Ravens are minus 2.5. Totals 46.5. Tim, you got anything in this one?
I haven't looked at it yet. To be completely honest, I didn't do my homework yet on that one.
That's fine. Tom, anything on this one?
Eagles.
Bills, Ravens. You're right. I skipped over the Eagles. Let's cover the Bills, Ravens, and then we'll finish up with the Eagles.
No, I didn't. I didn't do anything for that game.
I'm gonna like Dalton Kincaid. I can guarantee
that was actually my one play. Dalton Kincaid. I could show you right here. So since you now, I'll have to bring it up. Over 37.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on DK. Tight ends against Baltimore. Besides Kansas City, they've allowed the most targets to opposing tight ends, I believe. He's cleared this line in 12 of his last 15 games when he's had 4+ targets. They're seeing a lot of looks to opposing tight ends.
Yeah.
So I think that's a nice spot.
And Knox seems to be getting phased out, and Kincaid kind of getting the volume. So that seems good. I'm not even going to show you the charts for these because you joined the Discord for this play. We just dropped a 1, 2, 3 reception builder in the Discord for this Sunday night game. But I'll tell you 2 of the players, one of which is Justice Hill. receptions, and the Bills are giving up the 4th most receptions to opposing running backs. So he's in a great spot for this game, straight plays and builders. Shakir is also in a great spot for this game. The Ravens are giving up the 10th most receiving yards. The 6th most receiving yards, the 10th most receptions to opposing wide receivers. So those two guys in this game for straight lines and for builders are both going to be great spots.
Nice.
I'm in.
All right, wrap it up. Philly at Tampa Bay. Thanks, Tom, for reminding me. We skipped over this one. Tampa Bay's getting 1.5 at home, 42.5 in this one. Not a lot of props on the Philly side because of the wide receiver situation there.
Yeah.
But Saquon receptions in this game.
Why aren't they out yet?
Why are they not out yet? Number one matchup, right?
Oh man, it's like so juicy. I can't even contain myself here. So Tampa Bay, just like that's the team to target running back receptions against. When they faced Denver, they allowed 5 running back receptions combined amongst the running backs. Against Detroit, 11 combined between Montgomery and Gibbs. Against Washington, 7 combined between Robinson and Eckler. They've allowed the number 2 most running back targets, the most running back receptions, 5th most yards per target. You can look at some of those running back receiving yards over there. Yeah, lots of green checks.
Yeah, I mean, just in the one game, week 1, Eckler had 52, Robinson 49. Then the 2 running backs in Detroit, 35, 22.
Yeah.
And then Javonte Williams, 29. If this thing comes out anywhere around 20, this is going to skyrocket. So, just keep hitting refresh. And as soon as this line comes out, lock it in. Saquon's going to have a monster receiving game. Probably have a decent rushing game, too, especially with the lack of offensive weapons probably on the Eagles side.
Yeah. I had one other play. I see it's jumped up like crazy though. Last night I had Jalen Hurts 204.5 passing yards on DraftKings. It's up to 215.5. Went up 10 yards overnight. But he's done it in 3 straight games against Tampa Bay. 2 for 3 this season, and he's been pretty good on the road. 14 of his last 19 games on the road, averaging 245 passing yards on the road, Jalen Hurts. So
all right,
like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I got to figure somebody's going to play for the wide receivers. I mean, Dotson will be out there, but maybe Brown comes back. I don't know, but yeah, either way, Hurts will be throwing the ball, and some of those yards could be coming to Saquon for sure. So
yeah. All right.
Damn, we did some work today.
Did some work. Just put out a dissertation here.
Week 4.
PhD in tight end and field goal. I love that 1, 2, 3. By the way, I'm gonna smack that right now. So get in that Discord. It's
there we go.
A 100% hit rate. Love those.
All my plays are designed to appeal to you at this point, Tim. So
that's all I want. Why can't the whole world do that?
It's not too much all right, boys. Nice work. Got all the week 4 plays out. Lock them in now. Lines are moving, so get that closing line value now, and let's all make some money.
Let's do it. It's been a pleasure. Good to be back. See you guys.
See ya.